What if you could go into your fantasy draft with the exact same tools that all the fantasy experts use in order to win their leagues? Well, guess what? My name is Justin with JHen Fantasy, and I'm inviting you to Fantasy Football Training Camp, a live virtual 2-day event where you have the opportunity to learn from analysts, former NFL players, betting experts, and a whole lot more. This is your chance to get real analysis and expertise live through panels, participate in mock drafts, and a whole bunch of other goodies. Make sure to get your ticket in the description below and join us at Fantasy Football Training Camp this August 2nd and 3rd. We'll see you there. What's good, y'all? Your boy Justin Henry here. We are going to go over some training camp news. Obviously, training camp is here. And if you haven't got your ticket to Fantasy Football Training Camp, FFT Camp, make sure to go get that, bro. Shout out to everybody. Let's see. Boom. This the one I want? This the one I want right here? This the one right here? Boom, boom, boom. Making a couple of adjustments here real quick, bro. All right. Had a couple of adjustments I had to make. Teddy, what's good, bro? But get your Fantasy Football Training Camp tickets. Starts this August 2nd and 3rd. We're going to have Dante Culpepper going to be there. Austin Eckler, we had a special conversation with him. It's going to be lit, bro. It's going to be lit. What up, Justin? Teddy, what's good, bro? What's good, man? What happened to Fields? Listen, Justin Fields dealing with a toe injury. Could have been a lot worse. Got carted off a training camp today. We're going to have to talk about it because there's obviously a whole lot, you know what I'm saying, that I've been on Justin Fields and will continue to be on Justin Fields. But there's going to be a lot of discussion about is he ready for week 1. So just make sure if you draft Justin Fields, we're not doing it too early. And we got to make sure that he is back on the field before the season starts. What's good, JN? Who has a higher upside between Brian Thomas Jr. and Nico Collins? In my opinion, this is an easy one. This is Brian Thomas. It literally, like, he could catch 15, 20 touchdowns. And I just don't know that Nico possesses that. They're talking about changing the offense up. Instead of being so stagnant, they're trying to switch some things up with Nico. So my concern with him is that Christian Kirk is there. You draft Jaden Higgins. You draft Jalen Noel. You already have Mixon. And then you also sign Nick Chubb as well. So for me, the one thing I have with Nico is that there's going to be a lot of offense, and the offensive line still isn't that good. So I would just be careful when it comes to Nico. So Steven Jackson, Brian Thomas. Yeah, Brian Thomas for sure. Gabe, what's good, bro? I tried to give you mod access, but I couldn't. It is what it is. My bad, bro. I don't know what it is with your profile, bro. I got something on face. I got something on face, man. Jayhan, you got to slide that member so I can answer the questions. Jayhan the GOAT, what's up? Silent Thief, what's popping? Father Jayhan, what's good, sir? Listen, I know everybody's going to want to do mock drafts, but I want to get some information out. If you guys are only here for mock draft, I don't know if I want to do a mock draft today, but if y'all run it up, we can do a mock draft. I'm here for y'all, man. So, but I got to talk about some training camp updates, and I'm actually going to go live on IG on TikTok too, real quick. Some training camp updates. Actually, let me get through these training camp updates, and then I'll go live on whatchamacallit on TikTok. I'll go live on TikTok. If you head to the Twitch, you might get your question answered, huh? If you head to the Twitch, you might get your question answered. What are some thoughts on Breece Hall? If Fields is out, does that bump him up in your rankings? You know what? And I think with Breece Hall, I'm really good with Breece Hall where he's going right now in the 3rd, 4th round. And if Fields is out, it doesn't change my ranking because guess who slides in at the quarterback position? It's Tyrod Taylor. They're the same damn quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Just Fields has a little bit more upside. So for me, I'm not really concerned at all about Breece Hall one way or another. This is a contract year for him, and he wants to get paid. So I think this is going to be a dual backfield. Him and Braylon Allen. We'll probably see some Isaiah Davis sprinkled in there, but this doesn't change my opinion at all about Breece Hall, who I think is going to be playing like a madman this year. I think we're going to get really good value out of Breece Hall this year, and like he's just free. I feel like he's free in the 3rd round. Like he has top 5 upside, and like for me, I'm just like, why is he going outside of like the top 10 backs? It just doesn't make sense. Like that's one to me that just does not make sense. The upside is there for Breece Hall to be like crazy this year. And I know like at first it was the workload is going to be split, but like he's the starter. They're not going to be like what backfield really has been 150, 150, 150, a three-headed monster? That's coach speak, bruh. So for me, when you talk about like Justin Fields' injury, it doesn't hurt or help him. Brees is going to be Brees regardless. They're going to run the same offense, and so you're building that skill set under Justin Fields' legs. Tyrod Taylor will use his legs as a competent passer, so it doesn't really change anything for Brees Hall. For me, he's a secondary pass catcher in this offense. Like if you really think about it, is Josh Reynolds? Is it Arian Smith? Is it Mason Taylor? Like, no, it's going to be Garrett Wilson, and then Brees Hall's probably going to be the second or maybe third. He's going to be the secondary like target in the passing game for me. So does not change anything in my rankings. I've already had Brees Hall bumped up. When's that draft guide come out? Soon. Soon. Very soon. Very soon. I'll put it this way. If it was August 1st and you didn't have the draft guide, I'd be shocked. If you didn't have it by August 1st, I'd be shocked. Working on some things, bro. Like the draft guide is heavy this year, just like it was last year. It's gonna be heavy. It's gonna be heavy. Just to give you guys kind of a sample of what I've been working on in the draft guide. I have my strategy, like what my strategy is heading into a draft. I got my guys. I got draft pick strategy. Again, you guys like that one. What to do in an auction draft. Some draft day tips, player profiles. I got them rated by tiers. I have when to take a quarterback, how to handle the bye weeks, and I have like a list of all the bye weeks in there. Advanced draft strategy, advanced PPR. Like if you have the PPR rankings, how to adjust that to other half point and standard leagues. How to prepare for the fantasy playoffs. We got tiers built in there, coaching adjustments. Haven't done the injury report yet because obviously we got to get to like the preseason games and everything. But I'll add that in there for whoever buys it. It's gonna be heavy. The draft guide is going to be heavy. So, all right, couple camp updates. Okay, camp updates. Let's get on this real quick, and then I want to give you guys my raw feedback on day 1, 2 of how things are going and how to take camp news. If you guys got questions on it, feel free to drop it in the chat, and I'll go over the thought process on it. But I saw this list of camp news from yesterday that I'm going to go over, and then I'm going to give like my feedback on whether I think it's good or not. Actually, before I do that, what about if instead of doing a mock draft today, we did a rankings? We did like a tier. Would you guys want to do that? Does that sound dope or not? Like if we did a tiers, I think I'm going to do that today. All right. One of the first things, obviously, that came out, the Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson battle, right? Like, obviously, Anthony Richardson dealing with a shoulder injury. I think he's going to be a really good value if he can take the starting spot. So I think whichever of the Colts quarterbacks is the starter is probably going to have some value in redraft Superflex leagues. For sure, Superflex leagues. I can see one of them being startable at some point through the season. Like, you got the run game, you got a strong O-line, you have passing game options. Like, I kind of think when we're looking at Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, it's Anthony Richardson possesses top 5 upside. Daniel Jones possesses like high-end QB2 upside. For fantasy, I would want Anthony Richardson to win the job, but I think for like the skill players, it wouldn't be a bad look if Daniel Jones wins the job. So I'm still in on Michael Pittman. At a high level, no matter who's the quarterback, still in on Jonathan Taylor. But one thing I also heard out of the Colts camp is that they're using A.D. Mitchell a little bit, Donnie Mitchell in the short yardage game, giving him a chance like bubble screens, giving him a chance to like use his yak ability. So that's an interesting look, and I really liked A.D. Mitchell this offseason. So that's a player I've taken a lot in best ball. I have not drafted any of them in redraft unless it's been like a super deep league that we've drafted here. But for the most part, A.D. Mitchell might be on my like short sleeper list this year. The receivers for the Patriots, New England Patriots, Kayshon Boutte, Stephon Diggs, Pop Douglas, those are the 3. So a lot of people are liking Kyle Williams right now and drafting him as the wide receiver 2. I'd be very cautious with Kyle Williams and like drafting him a little bit too early as the number 2 receiver in this offense. He's not getting the starting reps. I'm not saying that can't happen by the end of training camp, But for now, it's interesting because we know Diggs is a starter. Pop Douglas is probably going to start at the slot. So it's interesting, like, who's going to line up at the X. And it kind of feels like Kayshon Boutte might have, like, the leg up on that. So for me, I'm watching this battle between Kayshon Boutte and Kyle Williams. I'm not sure there's a ton of value there, but, like, either way, I don't think there's a ton of value. I would say if you're high on Kyle Williams, be very careful about drafting him too early. He looks good in camp. So all reports that he looks good in camp, though. Russell Wilson threw 3 TDs to Malik Nabers yesterday. That connection looks like it's going to be strong. So Malik Nabers, obviously, a lot of people I was a little bit concerned about the volume. But if Russ is willing to throw him the football, should be good. Not really worried about that. But Russ is expected to be the starter week 1. Juwan Jennings, if there was some concern about a holdout, he's there at camp. James Cook is also there at camp. Terry McLaurin is not there at camp. So when it comes to holdouts, we got to watch and see what that looks like. Matthew Golden was starting practice with the backups, ended up becoming a starter. He caught a touchdown from Jordan Love yesterday. So Jordan Love has been spreading it out. Dontavian Wicks has got it. If you're drafting, just know we are getting a major value on Jordan Love. That's the one takeaway I have is I think Jordan Love is going to be one of them players we look at later. We're like, oh, shit, how did we let that slip outside of top 10 quarterbacks? So for me, Jordan Love is a player that I'm looking at. I'm looking at him as like a steal. And then Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft's another one who is one of the focal points, it looks like, of the offense. So I think this is one of those things where we're training camp sometimes. You don't want to feed into it. Kendall and I talked about this on a show. You don't want to feed into every single rumor or every single beat reporter what they're saying, but you want to have just an ounce of like, all right, cool, this could work. This could be something special here. But when it comes to Tucker Kraft, I think this is a player that, if you have him down in the tight end 15 range, he's probably going to be somewhere top 12. Just know Jordan Love spreads it out. They could have been working on something. But Jordan Love is if I had to take away from this shit, it's Jordan Love is going to be back, like top 5, top 7-ish, easily. Couple coach speak things. George Pickens been getting a major pump up from the offensive coordinator. They're talking about he looks unstoppable out there. They want to give him the football as much as possible. George Pickens already is going at a pretty, I would say, like the cost is right for George Pickens, top 24-ish, which seems about right. Could he surpass that? Yeah, but CeeDee Lamb too came out and said, look, I'm gonna have a crazy year. Y'all forgot who I was. So I don't know. I'm going to go through my rankings will be out very soon along with the draft guide. And I've kind of gone through, and it's not necessarily where you hear something and you're like, oh, I have to change my rankings. It's the perception sometimes in our mind of players is different than who they actually fucking are. So for me, I got to be careful with like looking at ADP and I got to go back through and kind of project my numbers out as well, because CeeDee Lamb, CeeDee Lamb's elite. And Justin Jefferson, we saw J.J. McCarthy have some bombs to Jordan Addison over training camp, but I don't know if he has the same upside as CeeDee Lamb. And I love upside in the first round. We've seen Quentin Johnston, obviously running routes. He's looked the part, but there's been a lot of coach speak about Ladd McConkey and him having a crazy year. When it comes to Ladd McConkey, how are y'all feeling? Because right now, after a strong season last year, Ladd McConkey, the one concern I had about him was that he's not going to catch enough touchdowns to be worth the top 10 receiver pick that everybody's going to want to take him with. And while I probably have him lower than consensus than most people, and maybe even lower than I should have Ladd McConkey right now, I have a sense that like he's going to be overdrafted. Maybe I have him too far down in the rankings. I would say that's a fair thing to say if you're worried about me and I have him like wide receiver 19. That's fine. You can say I have Ladd McConkey rated too low. That's 100% fine. But I would say this. Did we lose a feed? Y'all lost me? We good? We back? We back? I would say this. When it comes to Ladd McConkey, if you don't have 100 catch total or you don't have 10 touchdown total, it's tough for me to put you top 10. Just off the strength. So you got to have one of the two. One of the two. So the advertising froze it up. Damn, the ads, bro. I wish I could just turn them off, but shit, I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I gotta get some, unless something changes. Shit, unless something changes for the better, I gotta keep the ads on there. Sorry, bro. I'll do, you know, this year I'll do a few streams where it's like no ads. I'll do that. Maybe during the lives. If y'all support the way that, you know what I'm saying, that it could be, maybe what I'll do is instead of having ads during the live, I'll turn them off during the lives and I'll have them on afterward. Maybe I'll do that. How would that be cool for y'all? Is it better? Like, man, I'll do that. You know what? Maybe I'll just do that in general, bro. Maybe that's how I can, like, you know, I don't know. Because I feel like I don't want you guys missing information too and having to go back and watch it. So maybe I'll turn off the ads during lives. I don't know. Let me think about that. I think I might do that though. Can I do it right now? No ads. I turned them off. Maybe no ads during the lives. Maybe that's what I'll start doing, bro. I don't know. Y'all show me support. Y'all hit the like button. That's the thing, man. Like, we got to hit the like button. We got to share this motherfucker a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? And if you watching and you ain't subbed, you got to sub. So maybe I'll turn them off during the live videos. And then when I run the replays back, I'll turn it back on. A little bit of extra work for me. Probably a lot less money for me. But shit, it is what it is. Let me know if you guys get better, if it's a better feed because of that. Wide receiver 15 for me. See, when it comes to Ladd, I'm just like, I understand why people like Ladd. And I understand that, like, he's a good receiver. I understand this. I understand he probably is one of the better route runners in the league. And I understand I undervalued him last year. But the problem is when you go through the process, this is where I have trouble. And it's not just him. It's even a guy like JSN. Like, when you have guys that are not necessarily like 10 touchdown, 100 catch guys, unless they possess like elite speed or 1,800 yard ability, it's tough for me to put them in this range. So I tend to just personally go with bigger body, elite type speed over technicians. And I think technicians are really good at football. So when you go and you look at metrics, you're like, oh shit, this guy is undervalued. We should be drafting him higher in fantasy. I don't think that always correlates. What I want are the big playmakers. I want the guys who the offense goes through no matter what, no matter if they're covered or not. I don't want the offense to be, as far as receivers, I don't want it to be, oh, we got the ground game that's more important. Now let me, you know what I'm saying, the receiver is a secondary piece. So unless Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh change their philosophy 1,000%, where's the upside for Ladd McConkey? And they've been shouting out he looks better this year. He's unguardable. I don't know about that, but a couple other notes here. Deebo Samuel looking the part right now. And there was all those fat rumors and things that came out about him. But right now, he looks incredible at camp. And I think this is one of those players that probably is playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, getting traded this offseason. So for me, I feel like with Deebo, we're getting a good value. I don't know how much I want to pump him up into like the top 30 receivers. That's about where he's at. But I think he's probably going to outplay his ADP. Wherever he finishes, I think it's going to outplay his ADP, especially if they're looking at Terry McLaurin now like, yo, we got Deebo. We don't really need you as much as we thought. And I think Terry's trying to get paid because he knows his numbers are probably going to come down this year. So I'm not mad at Terry for wanting to get paid. I want him to show up at camp. He's holding out right now. But Deebo, especially if Terry gets traded, or imagine if Terry is like sitting out for an extended period of time, sometimes we see these things going to like week 2, week 3 of the preseason, Deebo might really be of value. So if you have your draft before then, I don't know that Terry gets traded. I don't know that he sits out for very long. And I don't know that the Commanders don't pay him. I think the Commanders want to pay Terry McLaurin. But when it comes to Deebo, it's like he's been elite before. It feels like every other year Deebo is elite. And I know he was out, they talk about the out of shape. He was damn near out of breath last year. Remember, he had pneumonia for the second half of the year. So I think people are being hard on Deebo. And there's one thing, maybe we're thinking that he's not good anymore. Deebo's still a football player at the end of the day. So I still think Deebo has value. Another thing we saw in Jets camp right now, Braylon Allen has been taking a lot of the work. And I think I kind of alluded to it with the Breece Hall comment. But, Braylon Allen could be he's one of my favorites that I've been drafting in like underdog. And even here on the stream, I've been taking him as like my RB4 or 5. When I think about what David Montgomery did, what David Montgomery was doing for the Detroit Lions, what Jamal Williams was doing for Detroit Lions, and you get Tanner Ekstrom, the passing game coordinator from the Lions in there now, and we're running a very similar, I'm not saying it's the same, similar type of offense. You have multiple backs that you want to use. We could be talking about Braylon Allen having a really nice year, even with Breece Hall going on, even with Breece Hall getting 75 catches. Like, we could be talking about Braylon Allen having like 10, 12 touchdowns with 600 yards. Like, I kind of feel like Braylon Allen, for whatever reason, we had him in our he was pumped up in the community last year. I was probably part of that. Like, hey, go get Braylon Allen. And then he proceeds to average like 3.5 yards a carry, right? Proceeds to not be like, I think he had a couple good games to start the year and he kind of fizzled out. Isaiah Davis took over late. But with Braylon Allen, it's one of those things where if you get 10 to 12 touchdowns out of Braylon Allen and they use him in the red zone, like I could see him having a lot of sneaky fantasy value if Breece Hall gets banged up. If they decide, hey, he's more efficient than we thought. So Braylon Allen, a huge human being, but it's also like, hey, if they use him in that Jamal Williams in that role, it could be a special season. Not a special season. I don't want to go too crazy. I don't want to go too crazy because sometimes I'll be going crazy with what I say. I don't want to go too crazy. But it could be a very nice season for Braylon Allen. JJ McCarthy, another player who he showed off the arm, and I alluded to it with the bomb, a 60-yard pass to Jordan Addison. But in fantasy, what do y'all think about JJ McCarthy? Because I can see him having some ups and downs throughout the year, but having like that Bo Nix type of value down here outside of the top 20 quarterbacks. My concern is we're going to see him throw these bombs, start to look the part, and then his value is probably going to creep into like the top 20. So I'm kind of concerned about that when it comes to JJ McCarthy. I would love to get JJ McCarthy as a QB2 outside of the top 20 quarterbacks. I think that's a fair value. But he's going around like Michael Penix and Tua and Stafford. So you got to really hope that he plays at an elite level every game for you. So while I love hearing the success on JJ McCarthy, Colin Cowherd, I don't know if y'all fuck with Colin Cowherd, but Colin Cowherd, he said something like, oh, JJ McCarthy's going to be like already a bust. I don't know if he does this shit for views, but that's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Like, to call somebody a bust after an injured season and a year with the playbook and we haven't seen him on the field is crazy. I think JJ McCarthy will play well. And I think JJ McCarthy will be a value where he's going right now. My biggest problem with it is that I think he might be a little inconsistent. The one thing is he's paired with great receiver play. When you got Addison, you got Justin Jefferson. He's paired with a great coach in Kevin O'Connell, who probably knows how to get the most out of him. And I think he's a big wild card because while he didn't have big passing numbers at Michigan, the offense is set up for him to have crazy numbers, especially if he's willing to pass downfield the way it looks like in training camp. It looks like he's trying to get the ball downfield a little bit more. So I think down there, I would rather have like a Michael Penix than JJ McCarthy. Tua is a little bit more appealing to me, but I think the upside for JJ McCarthy is definitely heavy. Luke is looking to provide himself, to prove himself for the Commanders. Yes, I think Luke McCaffrey, that might be, we might have a training camp conversation about that. Fantasy football training camp may or may not touch on Luke McCaffrey, and Austin Eckler may or may not be saying something about that at training camp. Rather have Stafford than JJ. Rather have Stafford than JJ. Than JJ McCarthy. Yeah, and I think Stafford, like with Adams, like that's the thing is there's so many quarterbacks this year. So a strategy conversation is, a lot of people want to take quarterback early. You want to take Lamar Jackson because he was the highest, scorer in fantasy. We've talked about that here, but I kind of want to reiterate, right? Stafford, we're gonna go back to the numbers. Matthew Stafford was the thing about Matthew Stafford, it's easy to forget from last season, is that he was without Puka Nacua for a big stretch of games. He was without Cooper Kupp for a big stretch of games. He himself was injured for a few stretch of games there and still finishes the QB 19 in 16 games, right? The season before that was the QB 15. And he's dealt with these like injuries to himself, to Cooper Kupp, Puka, there's been guys hurt, but he was almost 4,000 yards and 24 touchdowns 2 years ago, and that was in 15 games. I'm not saying Matthew Stafford's going to be a top 5, maybe not even top 10 quarterback, but with Davante Adams there, like Davante is real. Davante is one of the best receivers in the league. Puka is one of the best receivers in the league. And you go draft Terrence Ferguson now in the second round at tight end, gives you an elite body at tight end. He signed his contract. He's good to go. You got Kyren and multiple backs now to kind of take the pressure off. This team has gotten better since all those trades that they made. Who's saying Stafford can't be like a top 15 guy? I think the one question is, does he possess the same upside as like a J.J. McCarthy or Jordan Love or C.J. Stroud? I don't know about that. But I do think he's one of the safer options that you can get and probably get top 15 love out of. Like, Stafford is elite. So I think when it comes to like Stafford or J.J. McCarthy, there's so many question marks with J.J. McCarthy that if it hits, you're gonna be a dub. But if it doesn't hit, now you're looking like, damn, I could have had Stafford, and Stafford's probably putting up weeks where he's fucking 350 and 3 TDs. So I like JJ's upside. I think Stafford, though, is kind of right there, bro. Like I feel like he should be a little bit higher, but there's so many quarterbacks this year. And that's what I was trying to touch on real quick was there's so many quarterbacks that could be good this year. It really doesn't make sense unless you're getting one of the top 3 quarterbacks. 3. That's it. Top 3. Lamar, Allen, Jalen Hurts. Those are the only 3 quarterbacks you should be taking at the top of your draft. That's it. If it's Jaden Daniels, let him fall to you. If it's Joe Burrow, let him fall to you. If it's Pat Mahomes, let him fall to you. Baker Mayfield, you could get at a discount. Bo Nix, get him at a discount. Dak Prescott, get him at a discount. Justin Fields, get him at a discount. Jordan Love, get him at a discount. Like the Justin Herbert, the quarterbacks just go on and on this year. If you want value, get Michael Penix later. Get Brock Purdy later. Get CJ Stroud later. CJ Stroud will probably be a lot better. So I just don't think you need to take a quarterback. Like I've done so many mock drafts, and I think the quarterback position is one of those this year where like there's too much talent for you to take like a quarterback in the second round. There's going to be people that advocate for it. And I would say maybe with the wide receivers, if you only start 2 receivers, maybe I'm considering taking one a little bit earlier. But for the most part, like you can find similar upside at the quarterback position much later this year than you need to. I do not recommend taking a quarterback early. That's just plain and simple. So hold JJ for me. Vikings are a 500 team, but next season he'll improve. I'm not mad at this, like waiting to draft JJ McCarthy. The thing is, if you miss out on the upside, like he does have like in that system we saw what Sam Darnold was last year. And Sam Darnold, a lot of people faded last year too. Kirk Cousins was elite in that system. Like it's the system. And it could be like a Brock Purdy thing where like just because you're involved in a system that does really well, it bodes well for you as a quarterback. I do think that there's some risk, but like at the same time, shit, if JJ McCarthy is a 3,800-yard passer, and I think he'll use his legs a little bit too, like it could have more value than we think. So I just think he's a wild card. He's a wild card. He's going where similar wild cards are going, but he's like the earliest of the wild cards. Going ahead of Bryce Young, going ahead of Michael Penix. It is what it is. Sleeper to come out the NFC. Rams got to stay healthy. Rams could come out the NFC. I can see that. I don't know about out the NFC, out the NFC West. Out the NFC West? You talking come out the NFC? I don't know about that, my boy. That'd be crazy. Teddy was good, bro. He said, I agree. Yeah, the quarterbacks, bro. It's just one of the things where like you don't want to take them too early this year. 2 questions. Jack Strick, appreciate you tapping in on Twitch. Yo, if you're on Twitch, you get your question answered. Get your question answered. You don't have to have a membership on Twitch. I'm trying to grow all this shit, bro. So might bounce y'all around a little bit, but trying to grow all this shit. So appreciate you tapping in on Twitch, man. 2 questions. First, is Jaden Reed or Mooney? Second, you think Luther Burden will have value on the Bears offense? So when it comes to like a Jaden Reed or a Mooney, I think Jaden Reed has much more potential in this offense. But the thing is, Mooney showed really well last year as the number 2 for this team. I think personally, this is what I think. I think Jaden Reed is a bigger part of the offense than Mooney is. But I think this Falcon offense might be like kind of crazy this year. I said the same thing last year, and Kirkwood just wasn't good. He got hurt. You guys saw it on the quarterback show. Like, he was injured last year. But I have a feeling this, this Falcon offense might go nuts. Like, I really do. And Mooney could be a big part of that. They said they want him to have a bigger year than he did last year. And last year, Darnell Mooney finished, I know he was a top 40, I want to say he was top 30 receiver last year. Darnell Mooney finished as the wide receiver 31, had 992 yards. He almost had 1,000 yards last year. And they're saying he's going to have a bigger year this year. I think when it comes to the offense, I would rather have Mooney. I really like Jayden Reed, though, and I think his upside is higher. If 1-to-1, I would probably draft Jayden Reed. 1-to-1, I think Mooney's going to finish higher. Take that for what you will. Like, I don't know how to describe that. It's like there's certain players I would rather have on my team on a week-to-week basis for the upside. They provide a nice floor. There's other players I think, shit, you might even finish higher than him, but I would rather have this player on my team. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Like, example of that is I could see a world where Chase Brown finishes ahead of Alvin Kamara, but there's no way in hell that I'm taking Chase Brown over Alvin Kamara. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I don't know how to explain that without it sounding weird, but that's how I view this. Like, I don't always rank the player higher that I think is going to finish the season better. And I'll always draft the player that I think is going to have the better season numbers at the end of the season. I don't. That's not how I draft. So sometimes it's upside, sometimes it's floor. And I think in this case, I like Jayden Reed, the player, a little bit more than I trust Darnell Mooney, the player. And if Jayden Reed is the one, there's no chance in hell Darnell Mooney is the one on this team, on the Falcons. I think Jayden Reed, there's a slight possibility that he's still the one in this offense, even if he's not playing on 2 receiver sets. I still think he could be the one on this team, even if Jordan Love is spreading it out. And then Darnell Mooney, he's behind Drake London, right there alongside of Bijan Robinson for targets. They trust Ray McCloud on third down. And if training camp's any indication that they want to get the ball to Kyle Pitts, I know. If they want to get the ball to Kyle Pitts more, then I don't know. Mooney just doesn't – he's not very appealing to me as a player. If I had a flex spot, I'm starting Jayden Reed. If I have a flex spot, I'm questioning every single week if I want to start Darnell Mooney. That's what it boils down to. So hopefully that answered your question, Jack. I'm about to load up on TikTok too, y'all. About to load up on TikTok. Load up on TikTok. CD, a top 3 pick. Ryan, what's good? I don't know that CD is a top 3 pick, but I'm not mad if you take him as a top 3 pick. Like, I think for sure my number one's Bijan. And I think there's no way I'm passing up Ja'Marr Chase after what he did last year. Just, there's no chance I could do that. None. So when it comes down to the third pick, if you don't want Jefferson, you could take CD there. Because I don't know that Saquon is just like this lock to be top 3. I'm not mad if you take CD there. I'm not mad if you take Jahmyr Gibbs there. I'm not mad if you take Jettas there. I'm not mad if you take Saquon there. And I think the top 6 outside of Bijan's the number 1 for me. And I think Chase is the clear 2. Those next 4, I could see going a whole lot of different ways. And to be honest, I really would put Chase in there too. If I'm being dead ass, like, I put Chase in there too. I can see Chase having like, because Ja'Marr Chase, yeah, he had a crazy year last year, but I can see like T. Higgins having a bigger role. Chase Brown, I could see him being a little bit more involved this year. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's a bad move to have CeeDee Lamb. Like, I haven't talked enough about CeeDee Lamb, who is coming off of an injured season, getting another receiver back in this offense. Like, you add a George Pickens, it changes things. And this team has changed coordinators now too. But what this really allows the team to do now is like move CD around a little bit. You can have Pickens play on the outside, but Dak is also healthy. Like, I think it's easy to forget, like last year, CD was trying to get paid. CD held out for a little bit. So when we got to start of the season, it took a few games for CD to look like CD, but like 2 years ago, I want to say he was averaging like 23, 24 fantasy points a game. when CD in 2023, when Dak was healthy, I was off. CeeDee Lamb, no, that was okay. Hold on a second. In 2023, CeeDee Lamb averaged 23.7 fantasy points per game at the receiver position. And to put that in perspective, Ja'Marr Chase last year averaged 23.7 fantasy points per game. The same number. So if you take him top 3, I'm not mad at it. To be honest, I might have to CeeDee Lamb number 2 over Jettis. I've been, Tyler, it's funny because me and Tyler, we go back and forth on the stream, and I'm not always agreeing with what Tyler says. Most of the time I fade what Tyler says. That's no shade at Tyler. It's just most of the time we see the game a little differently. But with CeeDee Lamb, I think he has CeeDee Lamb as his wide receiver too. I've had to reconsider that. And I know, like, it's one of those players where, like, I don't think I'm sure. Like, we were going to take CeeDee Lamb number 1 last year. And I think I am not incorporating George Pickens' impact enough in the fact that Dak is healthy. If Dak stays healthy, why wouldn't CD be 120 catches, 1,800 yards, 10 touchdowns, the same shit he always was? Last season, CeeDee Lamb obviously didn't have the start that we wanted him to have, right? But he had a game where he had 13 catches, 146 and 2 TDs. And then he had games later in the year, even with Cooper Rush at quarterback, where he was still producing. And hell, he still finished last season as a top 8 receiver. And that was with bad subpar quarterback play and him having a slow start. So I think CeeDee Lamb is probably undervalued right now, even as the wide receiver 3 off the board. In PPR leagues, he probably should be a top 3 pick. I'm not mad if you don't take him. You want to take Jahmyr Gibbs there because there's every case for Jahmyr Gibbs to be the running back 1. There's every case for Saquon Barkley to be the running back 1. There's every case for Justin Jefferson to be the wide receiver 1 if things go right. I'm not mad at it. I think I am going to adjust CeeDee Lamb though and put him as a top 3 pick. I think I am. Let's see. TikTok it. I'm about to TikTok it up. Man. About to TikTok it up. I'm going to leave the chat on TikTok open so we can get some talking points. How y'all feeling, man? How y'all feeling with the season here? Let's do the tiers. Let's do the tiers instead. I'm going to actually make this sub only, and we're going to do tiers instead, bro. I forgot how to do it. Bro. There we go. We're back. All right. So let's go over these tiers real quick. Let's go over the tier quarterback. What position do you guys want tiers for? Quarterback today, running back, receiver, or tight end? Which one do you guys want tiers for today? You fade in CMC. I feel like people are scared to take him because he's going late 1, early 2nd round. Could be upside for his value. Listen, I think I'm fading CMC in the 1st round. If you can get him in the 2nd round, I feel way better about it. It's just the injury risk, right? We know if he hits and he plays all 16 or all 17 games, we know CMC is going to be elite wide receiver, running back 1. Just plain and simple. Ayuk's out for the start of the season. Ricky Pearsall's hurt. CMC is to the moon. To the moon if he stays healthy. I just don't want to take that kind of risk in the 1st round. There's no need for me to do that. Just none. There's no need to take CMC in the 1st round with so much talent there. Like Devon Achane could be running back 1. Derrick Henry could be running back 1. There's a lot of players that could be running back 1. And if they don't have the same type of injury risk that CMC does, out of the 8 seasons that CMC's played, he's been hurt for 4 of those seasons. To me, I'm kind of scared to take him 1st round. They say scared money don't make money, but it's like, what's the point when you could find similar upside in the 1st round? I think in the 2nd round, it's great value. 2nd round pick, especially, you can get him as some of the, I feel like there's way more value with him in the 2nd round than in the 1st round. Obviously, right? But people are going to want to take him for the upside. I agree with the Alvin and Chase take. You know what? It's funny because, you start to think of players that you want versus players you think are going to perform better. And it's like there's some players in the league are going to be good. Like put it this way. I know Demario Douglas is going to be probably a 700 to 800 yard receiver and like 5 TDs. But there's a reason he goes undrafted in almost every single league. And people are taking Bashal Tutin over Demario Douglas at flex in PBR leagues. That literally does not make sense. You're just going for the upside, right? You're going for the chance that it happens. So you don't always have to draft the best. Like a take doesn't mean I think this player is going to be better this season, like score more fantasy points this season. It's the player that you want on your team for the upside that they do, for the floor that they possess. Injuries happen, things happen in fantasy. It's tough to project. That's why there's Vegas. That's why Vegas makes so much money. It's tough to project on a season-long basis who stays healthy, who doesn't get hurt at all, how defenses adjust. Like, it's tough to project that. So you get players that are like matchup proof, proven they can done it before. There's a lot of reasons to take players, and it doesn't have to just be, I think this player is going to have the better seat. Like, that part doesn't make sense to me. TikTok was popping. We're about to go over. If y'all don't decide, I'm about to decide. Y'all want to do quarterbacks, running backs, receivers. I'm going to go over them right now. We're going to go over it. What position y'all want to do? What position y'all want to do? What position y'all want to do? Let's see. Tier maker, featured sports templates. Let's go here. We got team rankings. I don't want teams. I want players. I want players. Here we go. Quarterbacks, running backs, right? We're doing QBs. Y'all want to do QBs? Zach, what's popping? What's popping, Zach? Y'all want to do QBs? We'll do QBs. If that's what y'all want, we'll do QBs. QBs are up. Make sure y'all get your tickets to Fantasy Football Training Camp, man. Hey, it's going to be special. I promise y'all that. It's going to be special. What happened? We good? Okay. How the fuck I get this ad off, bro? All right. How do we get? Is there a way to reset this motherfucker? Quarterback tiers for fantasy. Bruh. They make you go through so much shit. There's no way to just start this thing from scratch. There's got to be a way to do this from scratch, bro. And I know I'm just reset. Did I just? Hopefully I didn't. Here we go. I was like, I know I got to just be a dumbass, bro. Got to be a dumbass. What's happening? What's happening, y'all? What's good? What's good? What's good? Listen, we're going over quarterbacks on YouTube. If you want to go on YouTube, we're going over quarterbacks on YouTube, man. I'm about to go do some tiers, baby. Tiers, baby. All right. When it comes to quarterback tiers, the S tier, this is who I think can finish as the QB1. And there's only a couple options here. The first one, Josh Allen is in here, but Lamar Jackson goes in the S tier. Lamar obviously finished as the QB1 last year, has all the potential in the world to do that again this year and potentially even outproduce that level, in my opinion. Like, I really think he could be even better than that. The other two in this S tier to me are Josh Allen. Where are you at, bro? They need some labels on this thing. And Jalen Hurts, why could I not find him? Jalen Hurts goes in the S tier. Lamar, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. The only reason why for Lamar, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts is you have a QB that can run for 1,000 and pass for 4. Run for 1,000, pass for 4. And you have two other QBs that are going to score over 10 points, over 10 touchdowns. They're going to score over 10 touchdowns. So for me, those are easy options. Lamar, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Y'all agree with this tier? Who should be in this tier that's not? Who should be in this tier that's not? Let me know who should be in that tier. Appreciate y'all running up the likes. Oh, how about this? TikTok. Y'all, since y'all want to run up the likes, I got something for y'all. I will open up the chat if we get to 50,000 likes. You know what? 25K. 25K likes, we'll open up the chat. All right? That is my goal. Now, what I do last year was 10. Let's do 10 to start. 10 to start. 10 to start off. 10K, if we get to 10K, I'll open up the chat. That's my promise to y'all. 10K. 10K likes, I'll open up the chat. All right, next tier of quarterbacks. Next tier of quarterbacks. The A tier. Now, my boy Jayden Daniels, they got to update these pictures too. Jayden Daniels goes in this tier. And there's only one other quarterback I think that fits in this tier for sure. Jayden Daniels finishes the QB5 last year, and I think a lot of people are expecting him to take a leap up. When you have Terry McLaurin potentially being out for a portion of the time, you also have, I don't know that he has the 1,000-yard rushing potential. And he hit, 800 and something last year. He got close, but I think there's a cap, whereas like Lamar, Justin Fields, those guys feel like they have true 1,000-yard potential. I don't know that he scores the rushing touchdowns, especially when you got Brian Robinson there, Austin Eckler in the backfield. Like, you have options, and he threw a lot of touchdowns last year to Terry McLaurin. Like, I don't know that Terry McLaurin sees the 15 touchdowns or whatever it was that he had, 14 touchdowns he had last season. So for me on Jayden Daniels, I got to kind of pump the brakes a little bit. I know it's easy to put him in the next tier. I actually, if I'm ranking them honestly, I have Joe Burrow ahead of Jayden Daniels. That's where I have Joe Burrow. And I think Joe Burrow repeats the year. My concern with Joe Burrow has always been like Jamar Chase getting hurt, T. Higgins getting hurt, himself getting hurt. And this is one of those things where, like, those guys, maybe if they just stay healthy, they prove they can stay healthy and they focus on that, we might be talking about a clean season from them all. Joe Burrow, to me, has a little bit more of a safety feature that's locked in than Jayden Hurts does. Jayden Daniels does, excuse me. He has a little bit more of a safety floor than a Jayden Daniels does, in my opinion. And I think Jayden Daniels, with the rushing floor, has a very nice floor. But I think Joe Burrow is a little bit safer, in my opinion. Maybe not the same upside. He's a little bit safer, though. The only other quarterback that I think belongs in this tier, but I have a hard time, based on last season's results, really justifying it, I am putting him in this tier, though. Excuse me. And that's Patrick Mahomes. A lot of people are down on Pat this year. And one of the concerns with Pat Mahomes is that he didn't look the same last year, right? Like, the offense, teams have adjusted. You play cover 2 against them now. And Pat Mahomes now doesn't have the same deep throwing potential that he had in years past. He don't have the same 5,000-yard potential and 50 touchdown potential. I get it. But for me, I think that potential is there. And I think that this team adjusts, and they've been adjusting low-key over the last couple years, right? Obviously, Travis Kelce, this was a Travis Kelce offense before. Now you get Rashee Rice. You go draft Xavier Worthy, who has all the ability in the world to take the top off the defense. You get Hollywood Brown, another burner downfield. We're talking about vertical options here in the passing game. That is what we're talking about, vertical options in the passing game. So if those vertical options are there, why are we not thinking Mahomes is probably going to start taking more chances downfield? Hollywood Brown hurt big portion of last season. Xavier Worthy was a rookie last year. Rashee Rice out after the first, 2 games of the year? Out, gone. Main passing game option. Juju Smith, who was starting to look the part there as a wide receiver 3, he got hurt for a majority of the season last year. Like, this team has passing game options, and then they draft one of the fastest receivers in the league in Jalen Royal. So in this year's draft. So when it comes to Mahomes, he has all the weapons. Your running back was hurt last year. Isaiah Pacheco was out for a majority of the season, and when he came back, was still dealing with the injury. Why won't Mahomes be better? I love getting Mahomes right now. He's probably one of my favorites to draft so far in our 12-team mocks that we've been doing. I've been doing a lot of Patrick Mahomes in like the 5th, 6th round. I think he could crush that. So for me, I really like getting him at that spot. This next tier is interesting. Okay? This next tier is interesting. What I say, 10K likes, and I'll open up the chat. That's what I said. 10K likes, and I'll open up the chat. I promise I will. 10K likes, I'll open up the chat. 10K. 10K likes. I'll open up the chat. Y'all can debate me on these tiers all you want. The next tier is probably the hardest tier, I would say, for me, because there's players that I think should be in there, and there's players that I don't know if I believe in, but I'm probably leaving out of this tier just based on my own personal preference. All right. I'm trying to make this shit look clean. All these fucking ads they got. All right. So in this tier, one of the very first quarterbacks who actually got hurt today that I'm putting in this B tier, Justin Fields. Justin Fields belongs in this tier of quarterback. Now, does he have the same floor that a lot of these other quarterbacks have? No. But does he have the same upside as the S tier and the A tier? Absolutely he does. Obviously, he got hurt in camp today, dealing with the toe injury, got carted off. It's supposedly something that's not serious day-to-day, has potential to be on the field week 1. As long as he's on the field week 1, we good to go with Justin Fields. And we know he has 25-point upside on a weekly basis. So he belongs in this tier because he doesn't have the passing chops as a Lamar Jackson, a Jaden Daniels. But for me, I'm anticipating he plays all 17. This is where I would put him in this tier. Next up in this tier, and he probably deserves to be higher, Baker Mayfield belongs in this tier as well. After throwing 40 touchdown passes last year, there's been increases to the passing game. Chris Godwin is now healthy, right? You drafted Emeka Egbuka. You have Jalen McMillan, who played really well last year. Like, there's increases to this passing game. And I know Liam Cohen is gone, and that's probably the biggest concern is that Liam Cohen is gone. But at the same time, Baker every year he's been in Tampa, he's outplayed his ADP and played at an elite level. So I don't think he's an elite real football quarterback, but shit, maybe he is. Maybe he's better than we all think because he continues to produce, and maybe we're holding on too much to that early version of what Baker Mayfield really is. So for me, I like Baker in this spot. I don't really draft a lot of Baker Mayfield, to be honest, because I think that there's similar quarterbacks that go after him. So that's really been my biggest thing with him is that I'm just not sure that I really want to take Baker Mayfield, but if he slips too far in drafts, for sure I'm gonna take him. All right, y'all, we got up to 10K likes. We got up to 10K likes. That number's only going to grow. I hope y'all know that. But the chat is now open. I'm not going to be answering a whole lot of questions, but I will go over like feedback of the list. I will go over feedback of the list. Shout out to y'all for rocking, man. Why you want to make us pay? Shit, I could just be offline. I could just be offline, CJ. And there's people who do pay, so I got to at least have it for them too, you know? I got to be able to do – y'all want me to give you the best info, right? Give y'all the best info I can, bro. It's $5. You ain't got $5 for me? You ain't got $5 for me, dog? All this shit I do on my Sundays helping y'all out in the morning, y'all ain't got $5 for the kid? It ain't even that much, bro. Ain't even that much. All right. Next up in this tier. My man Kyler got to go in this tier, bruh. Kyler got to go in this tier. And I think Kyler with his rushing upside, especially there's rumors that Kyler wants to run a little bit more. Like if Kyler does want to run a little bit more, then it opens up so much for his passing game. And I think it opens up more for his fantasy potential. He probably hasn't been running as much due to the fact that he did tear his ACL and probably wants to stay healthy, stay on the field, not get injured and have to go through rehab. But if he's willing to run a little bit more, then Kyler's probably going to be an extreme value here. This is a guy we normally took at the 5, like quarterback 5. So I think in this tier, I would really like Kyler to stay healthy this year and start to use his legs more. And I think we will see potentially like the thing is I can say top 5 potential about so many players. And that's the hard part, especially with the quarterback position. If Lamar finished top 5, it wouldn't shock me. Josh Allen finished top 5, it wouldn't shock me. Jalen Hurts, Pat Mahomes, Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Kyler. There's so many quarterbacks that if they finish top 5, it wouldn't shock me. So what's the differentiator between that? It's the upside. It's the upside and floor. That's really the only other way you can describe how somebody's value should be. It's not what you want them to do, or even projections only go so far because you have to play football games. But with Kyler Murray, the reasons we liked him before and the value, the reason why he slipped down in drafts to QB9, QB10 levels is because he's hurt us in the past, especially around the fantasy playoffs. He hasn't always been available. So if those are your reasons for not drafting Kyler, I understand it. But for me, the potential for him to start using his legs more, to get the most out of Marvin Harrison Jr. this year, and throw even more touchdowns to Trey McBride this year, who only had 2 touchdowns last year, that upside is still there. For me, I really like Kyler going at this range. And this is a player that, like, if I can get him in the 8th, 9th round, that's when I'm starting to look at, like, all right, he's a value quarterback now. Next up in this tier, so we got Justin Fields, Baker, Kyler. I think are all in this tier. This one might shock you guys. Maybe it won't. But I got Dak Prescott in this tier next. Dak Prescott. You guys think Dak Prescott's in this tier? I got Dak Prescott here. And Dak, I mean, when Dak has receivers, we know he can produce top 5 levels. Like, we know he can produce that. So I think the only thing with Dak is that he doesn't maybe have some of the rushing chops that the other guys have. But to me, he's like a Joe Burrow light. You're playing with 2 elite receivers, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens. You got a serviceable tight end in Ferguson. They have to pass the football to win games this year. There's no chance they win any football games this year without, like, through Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, and Jaden Blue. Like, no chance. So for me, like, he's going right now outside of the top 10 quarterbacks. I think it was like QB12, QB13 last time I looked. I'm drafting Dak there above that all day. So for me, I really think Dak does have like 5,000-yard potential this season. He has like 35 to 40 touchdown potential. Like, getting George Pickens is a major add for him. All right, a couple thoughts, man. Appreciate y'all running up the likes here on the live. I will be answering some questions here, taking a little intermission real quick. Not too long, but Bo Nix thoughts. I'll talk about Bo Nix here in a second. Dak has so much more potential to smash his ADP if he'd run the ball, but he gets hurt when he runs the ball. Y'all think it's crazy I'm taking CMC at pick 5 the past 3 years where he isn't the consensus #1 pick. He's healthy. I think it is kind of crazy. If you take CMC top 5, you already have Jahmyr Gibbs there. You have Saquon Barkley there. You have healthy running backs. Derrick Henry has 2,000-yard potential. Why take that risk with CMC? What's the point? Bijan, like, what's the point of taking CMC with the health risk? If he hits, yeah, but now you're already drafting him at healthy range. And if he doesn't stay healthy now, if something flares up with the Achilles, like, he's 29 and it only played half of the time he's been in the league. He's been healthy. Less than half of the time he's been healthy. So I think it's a little crazy. Second round for CMC. Bijan is the second easiest schedule too. Exactly. I love Bijan this year, bro. I love Bijan last year too. But somebody told me, they said, "Oh, you loved Bijan last year," and I was like, "Yeah. How did that work? How did that work out? It worked out great for us if we like Bijan. It maybe to start the season it was a little slow, but Diggs, I like Diggs. I like Diggs' value too. All right, back to these quarterbacks now. So obviously I put Dak in this tier. Another quarterback I'm going to put in this tier, in the same B tier, Jordan Love. Jordan Love belongs just alongside of this tier. He's finished as a top 5 quarterback just 2 years ago. What's the reason that he didn't finish top 5 last year? He was hurt. Jordan Love was injured. Now, I think it's so easy to forget that he was actually hurt last season, playing through that. And the team obviously took you go get Josh Jacobs. So the easy thought is, okay, well, no, it was a Josh Jacobs thing. They didn't have to throw the football as much. No, Jordan Love was throwing the football early until he got hurt. The first 3 games of the year, Jordan Love finished with. Jordan Love last season to start the year, after he came back from his initial injury, had 31 fantasy points, 16 fantasy points, 26 fantasy points. He only had one 20-point game the rest of the year after week 6. So, and he still finishes a QB 17, which is crazy. He was a QB 5 the year before that. And I think downfield, that's why you go get a Matthew Golden, you go get some speed, you go get more help in the receiving game. I think Jordan Love is probably going to smash. Jordan Love's going quarterback 15 right now. That's the biggest mispriced quarterback there is in all of fantasy. Jordan Love. Jordan Love is the most mispriced quarterback in fantasy football right now. I guarantee. There's a better chance that Jordan Love finishes top 5 than outside of the top 15. There's no other way to put it. There's no other way to put it. Jordan Love literally is like a top 5. He's going to throw 4,500 yards. He'll scramble. It's not like he can't run the football. He'll throw touchdowns. He wants to throw touchdowns. Top 15 after Bo Nix? That's wild to me. So I think with Jordan Love, we're going to get hella value. He's got no receivers. You got Matthew Golden, who I think Matthew Golden this year has upside to be like a wide receiver 3-ish type play. Just Jordan Love spreads it out. You still got Jaden Reed. You still got Romeo Doubs, who's in a contract year 1 to prove himself. You still have Dontavian Wicks, who the fantasy community loved, right? Dontavian Wicks. So I don't know. I just feel like Tucker Kraft is, to be honest, and you got Luke Musgrave, who before he got hurt was another option in the passing game. Like Jordan Love has plenty of weapons. Could Kelsey finish tight end 1? He had last year at 97 catches. I don't know if he could finish tight end 1, but I think there's going to be some spike weeks. I think we see better Travis Kelsey than we saw last year, who was the tight end 8. I think we see much better. That's fair. Bijan Gibbs, Chase CD over, but I think the upside makes picks 5 through 10. I think you're wanting Christian McCaffrey to be elite. I just think the risk isn't there. If you want to take him, just know that like your season hinges on if he plays 15 games. Just know it. If he plays 15 games, you're probably looking like I made the greatest choice ever. If he's banged up at all, you're going to take an L. Like it's automatic. Like you're investing that kind of trust in him staying healthy when he's proven time and time again that he can't stay healthy. Like Jefferson more than they say I like CMC more than Jefferson. That's crazy. This fucking mouse, bro. Appreciate y'all running up the likes, man. Showing love to the stream, man. Watching, even though today a little drier than normal. Normally got the mock drafts going, but we got to do these rankings at some point. I got to talk about it, and I got to talk about the reasons why. So another pick in this B range that I think may surprise some people. Maybe not. Brock Purdy, I think, belongs in this B range. Now, I think it does matter if Ricky Pearsall and Brandon Ayuk are back. But I also think when CMC is back, Brock Purdy has so much more leverage within this offense. I don't think he's the greatest quarterback. But I do think fantasy-wise, this Niner team is probably going to be at a discount compared to where they were last year. Kind of similar to the year before that when we didn't know who the starter was out of Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. We got like the whole Niner team was at a discount. And I think Brock Purdy could be like another guy that he's a guy that's finished top 5 before. But it's like I think he could be kind of sneaky with his value this year, just like Jordan Love and Dak. So I got him ahead of this next tier, and he's the last player I really have in this B tier quarterbacks. Am I missing anybody? In the S tier so far, we got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. A tier is Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Pat Mahomes. B tier, Justin Fields, Baker Mayfield, Kyler, Dak, Jordan Love, and Brock Purdy. Am I missing anybody? Yo, got you. Fantasy BDM, got you. Daniel, what's popping? Bro? Whoa. CJ? You think CJ should be up there? I don't think CJ. Gino? Drake May, he ain't there yet. Tyrone Tracy, I think Tyrone Tracy's good. Good RB3 to have on your roster. Bo Nix is the name that we're missing. I know that's going to be the one. You by go. Snooze. What did it say? You're my go-to for fantasy advice. Got you, Brody. Got you. Slide Murray down. He's inconsistent. How has he been inconsistent? How has Murray been inconsistent? Didn't Kyler Murray finish as the QB 10 last year? He was the QB 10 last year. How's he been inconsistent? All right, next tier quarterbacks. This is where I think my man Bo Nix belongs, right here. After a strong season last year, and I don't even know this is the order, I'm just putting him in this tier to help you guys get off my ass. That's it. I think Bo Nix belongs in this tier, and I think he could finish as a top 12 guy. But where's the upside with Bo Nix? Like, he's not going to rush for like 200 yards more. He's not going to throw for 4,500 yards. And I don't think the touchdowns are going to increase just because you go get Evan Ingram. So really, where is the upside with Bo Nix, who had a good season last year, but a lot of down games? Why? He had 10 games under 20 fantasy points, but why is that? Because his team doesn't need to pass the football. They want to run and play defense. So I think Bo Nix is a good quarterback here. He just doesn't possess the same upside as the quarterbacks I have listed ahead of him. I think he's a very nice floor play here in this range. A very nice floor play in this range. Next up, in this same range, I got to go through the last names. Trevor Lawrence. T-Law. T-Law. How y'all feel about T-Law? How y'all feel about T-Law? This is a player that we were super excited about last year. T-Law was going top 8 quarterback, top 10 quarterback. And then he got hurt, and what happened? Damn it, bro. He got hurt, and what happened? Now we fade him. Now he's not worth being drafted as a top 15 guy. You go and you upgrade the offensive weapons. You get Brian Thomas last year, which I know it wasn't working for Trevor Lawrence. We'll talk about that later. But you upgrade the offensive weapons. You go get Travis Hunter in the first round. You go get Liam Cohen, who we've seen what he did in Tampa with Baker Mayfield. Like, they're going to take more chances downfield. They're going to have more scripted stuff to Travis Hunter. Like, the way Trevor Lawrence is set up, he's set up to be what Baker Mayfield was. So unless you just think Trevor Lawrence is not a good quarterback, which doesn't really make sense, I will say this. He needs to stay healthy because he's been banged up a lot in his career. I will say that. He also needs to limit the fumbles because he's been kind of like turnover prone at times. In this offense, if Liam Cohen can get him right, T-Law has the same upside as like a Baker Mayfield, top 5-ish top upside. Like I said, I know it sucks because I'm saying that about so many quarterbacks. They have upside. I just think the floor is a lot lower for Trevor Lawrence, and that's why he's down here. So when I say top 5 upside, I genuinely think, which sucks because it sounds like I'm just throwing shit out there. I genuinely think there's like probably 15 quarterbacks that can finish top 5 this year. Straight up. I just think Trevor Lawrence's floor is a lot lower than those guys. But Trevor Lawrence belongs in this range. Another player that has elite upside in this range, elite upside, was the QB 11 on a points per game basis. You already know who it is? This guy right here, Drake May. Drake May. Really liked what I saw out of him last year. And I think Drake May has a little bit of room to grow as a player, but we won't see the full thing of what this looks like with Drake May until he gets an elite receiver. That's when we will see more out of Drake May, in my opinion. I think for now, we got to kind of rein back the expectations for Drake May, but if he was a top 10 finisher at the position, I don't think it would shock anybody. So while I don't think he possesses the same upside as like a Trevor Lawrence or maybe the same floor as a Bo Nix, I do think he belongs in this range because the range of outcomes, if Diggs is healthy for the entire year, if Kyle Williams can hit, there's a lot of ifs when it comes to Drake May, more so than some of the other guys on this list. But there is the if factor with Drake May. If things can work out and he can play at the level under Josh McDaniels, like there's a chance that we get good value out of Drake May, who we really liked last year as a top 12 option down the stretch before he got hurt. So I think Drake May does have that potential. I'm leaving him in this C tier. A quarterback I'm starting to get down on a little bit. Where are you at, my man? Caleb Williams. I have him in this tier as well. McDaniels made Mac Jones a Pro Bowler. Exactly. T-Law let me down this year. We don't play fantasy last year. Daniel, he did. He was a letdown, but we can't play fantasy last year. We got to play fantasy 2025, not fantasy 2024. I was big on him, but I'm drafting. Even if CMC hits, he's not a league winner. Achilles tendonitis is no joke. I think if he hits, he is elite. He's definitely not a league winner, but he's definitely like RB1. If he hits, he could be RB1. But Caleb Williams, I am kind of down on Caleb Williams this year. And I know Ben Johnson, the fact that he's there, a lot of people are going to be like, well, Ben Johnson's there. Like, the offense is going to be so much better. But this offense also, like, it's still DJ Moore and Rome. And I think Rome can take a big step up. But unless he takes like a massive step up, I don't really see this offense popping like everybody else does. And I'm getting kind of concerned that like Caleb just needed some time to adjust to the NFL game. I don't know that I don't even know if he gets to 4,000 yards this year. And I think the offense is good. And I think Ben Johnson will change some things. But Chicago is also like, it's different than Detroit, who's like indoors. It's an indoor offense. Like you play outside, you get some of those sloppy games in Chicago where their home field is outside, especially like in the wintertime. It just limits your upside. The wind is a factor there. Like there's other elements to just Caleb Williams that I haven't fully bought into him taking that next leap up. So I think you have to kind of be like on a hope and a prayer, like, please, Caleb, without painted fingernails. You have to hope and pray, like, please, Caleb, like, I hope you hit this range that we want. And I think he showed flashes of it, but until he shows more consistency through a lot of picks last year, he's going to have to show more consistency. He's going to have to show that he has mastery of this offense. This is his second offense now in 2 years. He's also going to have another weapon. Keenan Allen's not there. Keenan Allen was his go-to guy last year at times. Like, I know you go get another tight end in Colston Loveland. I'm just not sold on Caleb having an elite season this year. So I think the ceiling's a little bit limited, and I actually think the floor is probably lower than we want. That's why I'm a little down on Caleb. A little bit down. Christopher, appreciate you, homie. Appreciate you. Goff instead of Dak, bro? No, Goff belongs in this tier. This is where I have Jared Goff. And Jared Goff, there's a strong possibility that Jared Goff outplays this spot. Very strong possibility that Jared Goff outplays this C tier. Very strong. I would probably say like he's going to be top 10 and 12 because every year he is. But with Ben Johnson gone, that would be my only real concern with Goff. And I think that, Jared Goff, who was QB6 last year, QB7 the year before that, QB10 the year before that, like we know who Jared Goff is. It's just not a sexy pick. Am I wrong for having him this low in this tier? Am I wrong for having Jared Goff here? Because this is where I got him. And I look at Drake May, I look at upside. I look at Trevor Lawrence, I look at upside. I look at oh my God, bro. I look at upside. I look at Caleb. I even look at some slight upside there. Am I wrong for having Jared Goff behind those guys? You think so? Should give benefit of the doubt? He's been QB7 and QB6 over the last 2 years. Do I put him in the B tier? That'd be a big leap up. And I have concerns about like Amon-Ra like coming into the season healthy. You're not wrong. Goff should be at the end of the B tier. I feel like Goff, that's one I'm having trouble with because we know the offense is good. J-Mo, big year up for him. Sam Laporta probably bounces back. Amon-Ra St. Brown should be a 1,200, 1,500-yard receiver. Jahmyr Gibbs, we love him to be a top 3 option at the running back. Like, I know you lose Frank Ragnow. You lose Ben Johnson. Am I penalizing Jared Goff too much? This is a quarterback I'm having trouble ranking. I'm not going to lie. I have him in this C tier. The last quarterback I have in this C tier, and I don't know if you guys are going to agree with this or not. I don't really care. The last quarterback I have in this C tier. Who could guess it? Damn it, I already showed it on YouTube. Who can guess who I have it? Who's the last quarterback I have in this tier? I already showed it on YouTube. Who you guys think it is? Penix? No, good guess though. Good guess, Coop. Baker's in the B tier. Baker's in the B tier. Stroud or Fields? Fields is in the B tier. Puffy. Damn, Puffy is crazy. CJ Stroud is in this tier. CJ Stroud is in this tier. I got CJ Stroud here. And I think CJ Stroud goes way later than he should. Like right now, I have him ranked. That's my what? QB like 15-ish. That's a little high. Edit feature reminders. Why does it tell me off right now? Here we go. I think CJ Stroud belongs in this tier, and it's the offensive weapons around him. Now, we were taking CJ Stroud last year as a top 10 option. I think everybody got burned. He got pushed down. He's like QB 20 something now, QB 19. And I think CJ Stroud could have he could bounce back in a major way. Like, to me, he reminds me of like a Dak light, a light version of Dak. But if everybody's drafting Nico Collins and saying Nico could be the wide receiver one, Jaden Higgins is an elite, like, flex option. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has upside as a rookie. They drafted Jalen Noel in the second round. You go get Christian Kirk. Joe Mixon, like, this offense should be good. I know the lines are concerned, but, like, CJ Stroud might be better than we think this year. They got a new offensive coordinator as well. And, you know, I think that there's a chance where CJ Stroud plays at, like, a top 10 level. So that's why I have him in here. I think the floor is really nice for CJ Stroud, too. Could be in some shootouts if Jacksonville is better, if Indy is better. Tennessee's obviously not a great team, so could be higher scoring. Like, that division is kind of theirs for the taking. So I think while last year I was saying don't draft CJ Stroud, he was going at top 5 levels at times last offseason. I think outside of the top 15 quarterbacks, he's a really, really good value for CJ Stroud right now. He's in my C tier. He's in my C tier. All right, moving on. D tier. Agree with the list so far? The list is, for those just coming in, the list is Lamar, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts in the first tier. Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Pat Mahomes in the second tier. Justin Fields, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, and Brock Purdy in the B tier. Bo Nix, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, and CJ Stroud in the C tier. Are you a Chase Brown guy? Nah. I'm not. Let's go to the D tier. My boy Herb. Justin Herbert in the D tier. Now, I know what you're thinking. Like, Justin Herbert, he's a good real-life quarterback. This is a run-first offense and will be a run-first offense. Even he will probably run a little bit more this year. Herbert is a good quarterback, but, like, there's a real big cap onto what he can do this year. It reminds me of, like, Bo Nix, but just even worse. Like, Harbaugh wants to run the football. Greg Roman wants to run the football. And you lose Mike Williams, who obviously didn't even see the field this year. So you got pretty much the same offense as last year, just Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris. You add 2 better running backs than what you have. And damn near the same offense. You get Trey Harris. Like, what are we doing with Herbert? And Justin Herbert last season was the QB. Somebody asked if this is too early for a tier list. No, this is the perfect time for a tier list. He was the QB 12 last year. That's a healthy season. 3,800 yards. Like, what more is he going to do than what he did last year? Herbert was hurt last year. That's fine. But what more is he going to do? Like, what more? He's going to run more. They're going to slow the game down more. So I think Herbert, if you want to take Herbert and put him in the C tier, that's fine. I got him down here in his D tier. I think there's a real cap on what Herbert's going to do this year. And we haven't seen Herbert since, like, his early years be even a top 10 guy. He himself has struggled to stay healthy, right? Like, that's been a thing for him as well. He's played through injury, which is fine, but he's done that multiple years. Kind of the same thing as, like, Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor Lawrence just has way more ceiling than a Herbert. So if you want to take Herbert, that's fine. I got him ranked down here. Next up in this tier, Matthew Stafford, Najee Harris. Nah, we ain't doing Najee, bro. Najee's out. He's like RB 30, 35 for me, somewhere in there. Matthew Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford could be in this tier, and a quarterback who could throw for 40 touchdowns, like Baker Mayfield-ish. He's not going to run the football, which obviously, like, everybody, I think, except for Goff, pretty much, everybody else can run. And I think Stafford's just a quarterback that will probably throw for 400 to 4,500 yards. You get Davante Adams, that's an elite receiver. Not just Devontae's watch. Like, I think we got to, just because he has a new jersey on and like maybe was a little slow with the Raiders, I think it was easy in like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is his boy. It's easy to forget what like Davante Adams really is. Devontae's him. And you got Puka. Like, you have two elite. Is that the best receiving core in football? It might be. If it's not number one, it's number two probably. If it's not number one, it's number two. And if Stafford, I think he was banged up at times last year. I talked about it earlier in the stream. He had a lot of injuries to his receiving core. Like, Stafford has real potential to throw for 4,500 yards and like 35, 40 touchdowns. So I like Stafford here. Think he's a good value, and he's probably going to outplay where I have him. I think there's a strong possibility a lot of these quarterbacks are going to outplay where I have him ranked. Like, it's just, how do you rank this kind of talent? There's a lot of talent at the quarterback position right now. You know what? Stafford is ahead of Williams for me. Ryan, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that, actually. I told you, I kind of have, I feel like I have Caleb too high. And we're anticipating like Caleb being good. I don't know. You said you ain't wrong. I'm just a homer. Said, oh, for Goff. For Goff. Next up in this tier. Tua Tagovailoa. Now, with Tua, it's one of those things where, like, I think Tua, if you think he's going to get a concussion, don't draft him. But that's really the risk with Tua. It's really not like Tua is a bad quarterback or that this offense is super limited. It's just he can't stay healthy. The concussions get to him. If Tua stays healthy, like he's a top 12 guy, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, add Darren Waller, but like Achane, this is an offense that'll move. So really the only reason why he's down here and not top 15 is because of the concussions, which I think is a real risk. I really do think it's a real risk. So I got Tua down here, and I don't mind drafting him earlier than this. It's just if you draft Tua, you better have somebody else. You better have somebody else at quarterback. I hope Tua stays healthy, but you better have somebody else. This is going to be a crazy year because a lot of these quarterbacks have either shown top 12 potential, finished top 12, top 5. Like, there's been a lot. There's a lot of guys that deserve good rankings. And there's going to be, there's a lot of talent. Like, fade the quarter. If I'm you, I would find other positions and draft quarterback later. Honestly. There's a lot. We haven't even got, I really like the quarterbacks this year. Next up for me. You don't like McCarthy? He's definitely set up for success. I like McCarthy. He's just unproven. Really what it comes down to. Is he not even on here? Oh, there you go. Next up for me, Michael Penix. Basically just like Tua for me, attached to an elite offense, has the potential to be like, a 30 touchdown guy, 4,000 yard, 30 touchdown guy. If things go well in this offense, and I really believe in this Falcons offense. I know probably more than some, but like I think Penix has all the upside in the world to be like a 30 touchdown guy, even this season. The arm he showed last year was crazy. He has an elite arm. And when you're attached to this offense under Zach Robinson, who's going to put him in good spots, like I think what they were trying to do with Kirk and what we saw, remember the game with Kirk where on Monday night where he threw, 5 touchdowns on Monday night? Threw for like 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. What was the game he had? Like, imagine a healthy Kirk Cousins in that offense. That's what we're getting with Michael Penix, but a bigger arm. Y'all understand that, right? Like, this is going to be an elite offense. So they have, for me, like, I know I really like Michael Penix, and it's been very hard for me to rank him higher than some of these guys, even though I want to, because we don't have the tape on it yet. And a lot of times my process, sometimes it hurts me because I go tape over sometimes what I think, that intuition, and it hurts me sometimes. For here, I got Penix, and I think he can massively outplay the spot. I've said that damn near about every quarterback, though, which kind of sucks. 10-team mock on Mondays. Mock draft Monday. Next up in this tier. JJ McCarthy. Where are you at, JJ? There you go. JJ McCarthy, I think, belongs in this tier. And it's for the upside reasons. I think he has a similar type of floor. And I haven't been wanting to put him in here, but I need to, because if it's anything that we've learned is that strong offensive coaches get the most out of their players. And I think Kevin O'Connell has got the most out of any quarterback he's put in that behind that backfield. So I do think it's a little high for JJ McCarthy, but I think he's just in a better setup than some of the other guys I have right behind him. Like, I'll talk about Bryce Young and Cam Ward here, but I think JJ McCarthy does have some elite upside. It's just the floor could also be really low here. I just don't see it because we saw what he made Sam Darnold last year. Kevin O'Connell made Sam Darnold the top 10 option at quarterback. And JJ McCarthy is a good football player. Like, they took him at 12 for a reason. Or is it? They took him at 12, right? At 12? I want to say they took him at 12. So, no, was it 8? I think they took him at 8. Where was JJ McCarthy drafted? Was it 8? Was it 8? Somebody let me know. Was it 8 or 12? Bo Nix was 12 and he was 8. Is that what it was? Where was JJ McCarthy drafted at? Just so I have that for my reference. Was it 8? Anybody know? Nobody? Y'all don't know football like that? 10? It was 10? Like, y'all don't, come on, man. Y'all got to know. Y'all, 10. Penix was 8. That's right. Penix was 8. You're right. You're right. But yeah, I think McCarthy has a lot of potential in this offense too. And the thing is, it's just, this is potential floor right here, right? I think Herbert is a floor pick. I think Stafford is a floor pick. I think Tua is a floor pick if he stays healthy, but also has a little bit better ceiling than some, than maybe a Herbert has, in my opinion. Penix is a floor and ceiling pick. McCarthy is a floor and ceiling pick. So that's why this range is what it is. That's the last of this range. D tier, Justin Herbert, Matthew Stafford, Tua, Penix, JJ McCarthy. McCarthy's like Brock Purdy. I can see that. Drake May has a ton of upside. I do. He's in the tier above this. I got Drake May in the tier above this. Next tier. And this is I would say, the more questionable tier. Do they have him in here yet? They don't even have him in here yet. Here we go, right here. Cam Ward. Is that Cam Ward? Who the fuck is that? That is not Cam Ward, is it? That is not. Who is this? That is not Cam Ward. Where's Cam Ward at? Bro, that is not Cam Ward. Watson. Is that Cam Ward? Is that Cam Ward, bro? That is not Cam Ward, is it? I'm like, bro, that is not Cam Ward. I'm fucking like, where is Cam Ward at? Is he not on here? Hey, that's going to be our Cam Ward. Who is this? Who is this at quarterback right here? Who is this? Is that the dude? Is that the dude who the Jets drafted last year? Who is this quarterback? Why can't I think who that is? Who is that? What quarterback is this? Why can I not think? He's gonna be our Cam. Hey, he's our Cam Ward fill-in for today. I'm like, Cam Ward got braids and shit. Jordan Travis. Yeah. It's Jordan Travis. That's who it is. And it was for the Jets, right? He was on the Jets. Yeah. He's on it. Hey, watch on the YouTube. YouTube is Justin Henry Show, or it's J-Hen Fantasy. You can watch it, J-Hen Fantasy YouTube. J-Hen Fantasy. I got the screen up. Appreciate y'all running up the likes too. Yeah, it was Jordan Travis. I was like, bro, this is not Cam, but it's down there where the W's are. So I'm like, who the fuck is this? But Jordan Travis, aka Cam Ward, for right now, he's in this tier for me, and this is solely a potential thing, right? We kind of saw it with C.J. Stroud's rookie year, Bo Nix his rookie year. Like, you can sometimes find a lot of value in quarterbacks that are maybe undervalued because we don't know how to properly value them in the offense. And this team could be in some shootouts. This team could be playing from behind a lot. And Cam Ward isn't like a runner, so he's not going to be like this 1,000 yards, 700-yard rushing guy. But like, he does have an elite receiver in Calvin Ridley. So for me, I feel like this is an upside play for Cam Ward. It's purely like, hey, he could be way better than we think and be a top 15 guy. J-Hen, H-E-N, J-Hen Fantasy. Or you search my name, it'll probably pop up too. But I think Cam Ward is an intriguing pick here. And the reason why he's in this tier is because I think there's a wide range of outcomes for Cam Ward. He could struggle year one, right? But Brian Callahan's probably going to put him in some pretty good spots. Like Brian Callahan, if you guys remember, he's obviously from the Bengals. And you saw what he did with Burrow and kind of got that thing jump started. I think he puts him in good spots. And Will Levis at times looked the part last year. He just wasn't able to produce at a consistent level. So I think Cam Ward will be put in good spots. Obviously, Jordan Travis there on the screen, but we don't call him Cam Ward because I don't see Cam Ward on here unless I'm tripping. Actually, you know what's more appropriate? We'll do this for the views. We're going to do this for the views, and so I can remember it a little easier. Where are you at? Where the fuck are you at, bro? We're going to put Will Levis right there. We're going to put Will Levis. And hey, when I put this on TikTok, when I put this post, I'll post this on TikTok. When I post this list on TikTok, we got to be like, I want the comments to be like, why is Will Levis on here? Why is Will Levis on here? Y'all control with the Will Levis thing, all right? Y'all control with the Will Levis. Next up in this tier, the Mayo Monster. The Mayo Monster. Next up in this tier, and I could put him over Cam Ward. I just think Cam Ward has a little bit more upside. Bryce Young, I think, belongs in this tier of quarterbacks. And now Bryce Young, when it comes to Bryce Young, I think that I think he has the weapons. And I want to believe it's just for 2 years now we've seen him kind of not be it. You go get Ted McMillan, you bring in a Hunter Renfrow safety valve. You already have Alan Thielen, who's struggled to stay healthy at times. You get Xavier Legette last year at the end of the first round. And Jalen Coker obviously kind of outplayed where he was drafted as well. So you have 5 good receiving talents. And Jontavian Sanders was banged up at times last year. He should be better in year 2. The run game is there now with Chuba Hubbard, and you go get Rico Dowdle as well. So, the offense should be better. When we talk about being tied to quarterback whispers, it's like Dave Canales was that guy. So it remains to be seen. There's a reason Bryce Young they traded up to get him. Obviously, put a lot of draft capital in him at the number 1 spot and gave up picks in several years. They have to see this thing pan out. And so while I think Bryce Young has immense upside, it's just he's already kind of proven to us that he hasn't been that option. So I'm not sure that I would want to put him in that next tier. Could he be in that next tier? Absolutely. He could be in the D tier. But I'm going to leave him in the E tier for now just because he hasn't fully shown us what he's capable of. Just where I have him right now. And he could – the same thing I've said about most quarterbacks is that he could outplay the spot. It wouldn't shock me to see Bryce Young top 15 into the season. Wouldn't shock me. A quarterback who probably needs a lot more love than where I'm putting him right now. Where's that big jaw motherfucker at? Here we go. Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold to me belongs in this tier and probably a little bit more. He finishes the QB8 last year. The QB8, and I have him in the E tier. You go with Clint Kubiak. And, Clint Kubiak's an offensive genius. We saw what he did with the Saints, at least in the early part of last year. You go get Cooper Kupp. You got JSN. Elijah Arroyo is everybody's favorite tight end this year. And obviously, he's going to be better now that Noah Fant's not there. But, I don't know. I feel like I still don't fully trust Sam Darnold as my quarterback. And I wouldn't necessarily even think that he has a bunch of upside. But he'll get out the pocket. He'll move. And he made Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison both top 20 receivers last year. Top 24 at least. I think it's top 24. So, if he's any better than that, or if he can at least even be close, I got him ranked too low. But I just think that with the other quarterbacks there, with the upside floor combination we've been talking about, I think Darnold belongs here. Next up in this tier. Actually, he's the last one in this tier. The next tier, the F tier, is only going to be one player and one player only. And that's Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson in the F tier. F for fail. F for F you last year because you couldn't help me out. F for what's the future hold, right? There's a lot of things with Anthony Richardson. There's just a lot of question marks with Anthony Richardson. Does he get the starting spot? Daniel Jones right now seems to be in line to get the starting spot. The reason why he's in the F tier is because out of all the rest of these quarterbacks, if anything, anything happens with Anthony Richardson and he's the starter, we're talking about potentially a top 5-7 guy. Potentially a top 5-7 guy in fantasy. He belongs. Then Anthony Richardson goes in the B tier, right alongside like Justin Fields. If he's the starter, he will go in the B tier. So the reason why he's F is because A, you don't have a starting job. B, we don't know if he's improved in the passing game. His shoulder's hurt. C, what does he look like when he gets on the field? Can he stay healthy? There's so many question marks about Anthony Richardson. The if ceiling is QB1. The if floor doesn't put up any fantasy points for the entire year because Daniel Jones is a starter and he plays well. So that's why he's in this F tier. He's in a tier all by himself. He's a league winner, and if you draft him too early, might be a league loser, like straight up. So he's a very hard player for me to rate because I think the upside is there for AR to be extremely good. But like, damn, you got to take him, you get him for free, but like you have in super flex leagues, you probably got to take him earlier. You got to take him before some of the starters. And it's just like, I don't know if I want to take that risk. So he's in his own tier. And then the next tier up, we get a couple vets in this tier. We got Russell Wilson. Where are you at, Russ? Russell Wilson in this tier, obviously for the Jets. For the Giants. And then we get Aaron Rodgers in this tier as well. Aaron, where are you at? Both of these quarterbacks, I think, have top 15-ish type ceilings, but really there's just not a whole lot. Like I don't trust them to be anything more. And if the teams don't do as performed, I could see like Russell Wilson getting moved off of for Jackson Dart at some point. I can see Aaron Rodgers having a decent season, but nothing crazy in Arthur Smith's offense. I just think these guys are old, reliable names that I would trust as a QB2 if I faded the position. That's where they're at. If I just completely faded the position and I wanted floor, I would take them. I could even put Daniel Jones in this range. He just has to be the starter. I think for now I'll put him here. But if he doesn't get the starting spot, obviously Daniel Jones goes much lower. The last bet in this name, Geno Smith, he belongs here as well. Like I kind of think all these guys have like top 15-ish ceiling max, and they're all like a play away from probably not being a starter. So the old wily vets, the last of like I would start these guys in fantasy as my QB2. And then down here we get the combination of Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shook. Oh, that's Desmond Ridder. Where is Spencer Rattler at? Here we go. Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shook. I think these guys you're not drafting them. You're not really using them at all in fantasy. Joe Flacco, I think, can go in this range. Joe Flacco actually could go here. I just don't think he stays the starter the whole year. And then that's it. The rest of them are all backups. So for me, this is the list. I don't think I have anybody else that I'm missing, correct? Am I missing anybody else on here? I'm not going to go over high-level backups because I don't really think the only high-level backups I could see maybe playing a factor are like Jalen Monroe has like high-level backup appeal to me. Mac Jones, if he gets a starting gig, has like a high-level backup appeal to me. There's not a whole lot of high-level backups, in my opinion. Jameis, maybe high-level backup if he gets traded. Kirk Cousins, high-level backup. So there's a few high-level backups, but for the most part, this is the list. Let me know if I missed anybody. Did I miss anybody, YouTube? What do y'all think of the list? Who's out of place? Nico or BTJ this year? I got BTJ. Michael Penix's league-winning upside? I agree. Full list. Let me go with full list. Full list for you guys. Full list of quarterbacks. S tier. We got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. S tier. The A tier. I think this is a step down from those guys, not as much ceiling. Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes. I think the risk factor comes into play here for some of these guys, or maybe a limited ceiling for this B tier. We got Justin Fields, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy. A few of those guys are ranked way higher than consensus ADP right now. In the C tier, I think this is an upside group right here for the most part, or a heavy floor, as in Jared Goff's case. We got Bo Nix, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, CJ Stroud. In the D tier, we got Justin Herbert, Matthew Stafford, Tua, Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy. In the E tier, we got Will Levis, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold. In the F tier by himself, we got Anthony Richardson. In the D tier, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith. And in the H tier, we got Spencer Rattler, Joe Flacco. What you think of the list? I personally wouldn't take Fields over May. Why? Just because of injury? Having Goff next to Caleb ain't it? You're probably right. I think you're probably right on that one, Chief. Probably right on that one, Chief. Probably right on that one. But anyway, I'm gonna get off today. Appreciate y'all tapping in. We'll do running backs either tomorrow or maybe sometime next week. But tier Jaden Daniels is the A tier, not S tier. If you guys don't have no more questions, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out, y'all. Peace out. Peace.